Before this podcast begins, we would like to give a 10-second moment of silence for the late, great Scott Hall. Thank you.
Like,
Comment.
and subscribe for more content.
Where's the notification bell?
It's to the right of you.
Oh.
Ooh, what's up, guys? Welcome to this edition of a Funko Podcast. I am DK Wrestler.
And I am MD Shady.
And in today's podcast, we got a pretty decent selection of Funko Pops for the little selection that we had gotten this week. But not only that, this is actually the first podcast that we are doing that is in our brand new time slot, if you haven't heard yet or have noticed, of 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time instead of the usual 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, due to the fact that your boy DK started a job where I have to work past noon Eastern Standard Time, so I wouldn't be able to promote the videos during that time anymore. But we are going to kick off with a segment, and I think it's actually a viral discussion that a lot of people have been talking about actually ever since just after we recorded last week's podcast. And I'm sure for some reason, maybe MD would have already had this discussion with his coworkers. The discussion is, if you guys haven't clued in, is, are there more doors or wheels?
In the world?
Yeah, in the world. There's this tweet that was made on Twitter, and this guy's like, all right, I'm having a heated discussion with my friends right now, or just like a stupid discussion. And he's like, are there more wheels or doors in the world? And like over 200,000 people already have voted on this poll. And I think voted is that I think 53 or 54%, it was a very close poll, say that there are more wheels in the world than there are doors.
Okay, so this is right off the top. DK said that we were going to be doing some kind of little thing here, and I had no clue what it was. So going through my mind as DK was talking there, I kind of thought of some different things. So the first thing you think about is definitely cars when you think about doors and wheels, in my opinion. Whereas standard cars, most of them have about 4 doors, sometimes a back hatch if you include that as a door. And then generally speaking, most cars have 4 wheels. So you'd say it's probably pretty even, and it depends on what you consider a wheel. Is a steering wheel a wheel, or is that a handle in a sense? Then again, bikes have 2 wheels and generally don't have any doors, so that's interesting. But also, my house has a ton of doors and not very many wheels, I would guess. This is a weird little thing, and I was definitely unprepared for this, but I like it like this. So let me give it a little bit more thought here. Initially, I'm thinking that there's more doors than wheels, but then you also have to think about places like third world countries where doors might not be exactly a thing, or run down parts of towns where sometimes you don't really have a door, you just have a doorway. So this is kind of interesting. I think I'm going to have to go with more doors than wheels, though, because I feel like most people who have a car probably also have a living area where there's got to be at least a few doors. So I'm thinking doors, but then again, like I said, it depends on what you consider a wheel.
I've been thinking about this all week, and I'm thinking I'm leaning more towards wheels. And this is because, like, yes, there are lots of doors, but then, yeah, you go back to the cars. Realistically, when it comes to cars, sometimes there's 4 doors, sometimes there's 2 doors. And then it also depends on what you consider a door, even though I'm thinking, obviously, a door, it's got to have some sort of handle to actually open it up. People are considering hoods of cars as a door, which I don't think that's necessary. And there's people who are considering trunks as doors, which is kind of a door, but it's not really a door. But wheels, like, there's lots of things with wheels. Like, even right now, I'm looking at my door. There's a door, but then I look all around my room. I'm sitting in an office chair that has 5 wheels. I have 2 suitcases that have 2 wheels on each. And then if you think about going into a hospital, there's doors in a hospital, but you go into a hospital room, there's multiple wheels on the hospital bed. And not only that, if I go around in my house and then I go to my brother's collection room for his Hot Wheels, there are wheels on Hot Wheels also. And there
doors.
are but the doors are not functional on a Hot Wheel.
Not
Except
true.
some.
Some do. Yeah, some do.
But
Another thing that I want to point out is that think about going into your kitchen. Look at all the doors there. Not only do you have doors for your fridge and your freezer, all of your cupboard doors, but potentially in the fridge as well. There is doors on some different compartments. There's doors on lots of things, like even in your bathroom. But then again, like you said, there are a crazy amount of wheels as well. It also depends too. Do you consider a pulley system? Do you consider a wheel on that, like the wheel of the pulley? I don't know. Maybe it's got to be close in numbers, I'm thinking.
It's a pretty close discussion. We haven't had this kind of debate since that debacle of that one photo that went viral where is the dress white and gold or blue and black, which I swear, if there's anyone out there that think that was black and blue, no, it was definitely
I am one
gold.
of those people, actually. It was
wow. We'll now move on to the actual Funko Pop discussion, but I thought we'd kick it off with a discussion that I think needed to happen of doors versus wheels. But yeah, let's move over to the Funko Pop announcements for essentially this past week, which range from March 9th to March 15th, which starting off, we'll talk about March 9th and March 10th announcements, which kicking off, Funko had announced a Funko Shop exclusive pop of Moira Rose with the garbage bag dress from Schitt's Creek, which that is available now, of course, on the Funko Shop website. And knowing the Funko Shop nowadays, it probably has not sold out yet. Then on March 10th, we have ourselves a brand new wave of Rugrats pops, which this set we have ourselves Chucky Finster, Tommy Pickles with a 1-in-6 chase, Susie Carmichael, Angela Pickles, and then an Amazon exclusive 2-pack of Phil and Lil DeVille, which these are expected to release as early as July of 2022. On that same day, FYE had announced their own exclusive pop of a driving exam Piccolo from Dragon Ball Z, in which this is available now both online and at various FYE stores. Then Funko had announced on that same day of a Jack and Meg 2-pack from the White Stripes, which is a part of the Pop Rocks lineup, in which that is expected to release as early as April of 2022. So I guess kicking off, we have ourselves the Moira Rose Pop, the brand new Moira Pop for the Schitt's Creek lineup, which I think this is pretty decent. I somewhat remember this scene in Schitt's Creek because I remember at some point, I think like one of her outfits got ruined or something, and then she had to resort to a garbage bag as terms to an outfit, which is pretty decent. I like when Funko is making pops of certain characters and it's from specific moments in the show. I really like that. I'm sure that there was a decent amount of people that ended up buying this. Not a lot, I feel, because, of course, this never sold out yet, or at least as of this recording. Then we got ourselves the brand new wave of Rugrats pops, which this is a pretty sweet wave. It's kind of long overdue that we got a Rugrats wave, at least a new one, because I don't think we've gotten one since even before we started doing this podcast, I believe. I think the last time we got it was 2018, I believe. I want to say it wasn't so long ago, but it was still like a decent time ago that we had gotten a new wave of Rugrats pops. Starting off with the Chucky, which is pretty decent. It kind of looks similar to the other Chucky, except this time with the glasses. They actually filled in the space between the glasses and the eyes with white there, which I think is pretty decent. But there were people I seen in the comment section below on Instagram that think that Chucky looks possessed in this Funko Pop, the way that the eyes look. But I like this Chucky Pop overall. I think they made the hair, from what I remember, a little bit more scraggly, like it should be, instead of the way that it was in the original one. And I like in this pop that they actually have like a stuffed animal of Reptar without having to actually make a newer Reptar, since there already are, I believe, 4 Reptar Funko Pops in the Rugrats set. Then we got ourselves Tommy, which we got the common version, which is holding a teddy bear, and then the chase that's holding a ball. I can't exactly remember the significance between these two because it's been so long since I've seen Rugrats. God, I don't know how long it's been. And then you got essentially what I'm pretty sure is the first ever Susie Carmichael Funko Pop, because I don't think they've made a pop of her yet, but that's really cool. And then I remember Angelica being made into a Funko Pop, and this is her second one, but I feel this is a little bit very similar to the original one because I think she's almost in that same posing, except that I think she's holding a doll near her side and not kind kind of by the arm there and kind of her arms crossed the way that it is in this Funko Pop. But overall, this is pretty decent. And then you got the 2-pack, which I think the 2-pack is awesome. I remember these guys. I'm pretty sure, obviously, these are twins, if I'm not mistaken. It's been a while, so obviously MD will correct me if I'm wrong, essentially, when he talks about these. And this is really cool. I like when Funko, even though that sometimes they'll make repeats of characters, when they make new characters for a certain lineup, like Phil and Lil DeVille. Overall, this is a pretty decent wave for Rugrats, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to get either the majority or the entire set of this Rugrats wave of pops. Then we got ourselves a driving exam variant of Piccolo, which I think this is unique in a way. Like normally when you look at Dragon Ball Z pops, they're in some sort of action pose, ready to do what they do in the show. But this is very different. This is very casual compared to what we normally see. And I'm kind of really curious on what's going on here, considering that I never really watched Dragon Ball Z as it is. So it's also cool to see something other than a regular Goku or Vegeta variant be made. You got something slightly new. We've seen quite a bit of Piccolo pops in the past, but I mean, we haven't seen as many variants of Piccolo as we've seen of course, Goku and Vegeta. Then we got ourselves the white stripes. We have ourselves Jack and Meg in the 2-pack there, which I can't exactly remember. Obviously, I know who the white stripes are. Pretty good band, but I can't exactly remember essentially the significance as terms to these pops, as terms to like what it's involved with. Like it's probably involved in a music video if I were to guess, but I don't exactly know for what song. But it's pretty cool that Funko is expanding into different bands instead of, let's say, hey, let's release a Hot Topic exclusive silver metallic pop of an already existing mold.
Okay, starting off with the new Funko Shop Moira Bros. This is pretty decent. I like this one. I think it's a cool variant, and I'm really excited to see the other variants that they come out with because I feel like these Schitt's Creek pops have been pretty decent, especially when you have outfits or moments from the show that are directly related to one episode or the other. I think that's pretty cool, and honestly, there hasn't really been a bad Schitt's Creek pop, especially considering they are just human characters. So this is good, and I know it's probably going to sell very well because people love Schitt's Creek, and for a good reason. It's an awesome show. Then we have the new wave of Rugrats pops, and this is awesome. It was kind of a little teaser when we got those NFTs, and now we have a new wave, and it's great. So my first thought about this wave was that we got a new Chucky, 2 technically new Tommies, and a new Angelica. And I don't think we necessarily needed them because I feel like there's other characters that could have been made. And in my opinion, those characters would be Stu Pickles and Lou Pickles, I believe are their names, the father and the grandfather. I feel like people just love those characters a lot. They're kind of fan favorite characters besides the children. So I'm kind of surprised we didn't see some of the adults. Maybe we'll see another Rugrats wave in a year from now, and hopefully we'll have characters like that. But then again, it does make sense to do more variants of these characters, considering that that first wave of Rugrats pops was so long ago that people definitely have gotten into Funko Pop collecting since then and probably missed out on a lot of those drops, having to pay secondary prices, though I don't think the Rugrats pops are super expensive anyways. But the good thing about this is that these new molds are fantastic. And I guess the first one I will get to is Chucky, which I believe is just keeps in bounds way better than the original one. And people are complaining about the white in the glasses. And honestly, I think it's great. If you look at any Chucky product ever from Rugrats, pretty much you always see the white in the glasses. And my explanation behind this, and I think the reason for it, is that people don't realize that Chucky has got some thick spectacles. And generally what happens with this is, especially if you're a fan of the Trailer Park Boys, you know that Bubbles' eyes are huge because of the thickness of his lenses. So basically that's what's going on with this, is that you're not seeing any of his face because he's wearing really thick glasses. This makes so much sense. I think that this pop looks so much better than the original one. And he's holding a Reptar Stuffy, which is pretty dang cool. And that leads me to my next point about this entire wave, that I'm surprised that we did not see a 10-inch Reptar pop in this wave. And it could have been an existing mold or a brand new mold for a 10-inch Reptar. But I think that Reptar is a perfect example of a pop that should be made into 10-inch form. And I don't know why we haven't got it yet. Hopefully we do get one. I would probably for sure buy it. That being said, there still are some great pops to talk about. So moving on to Tommy, I think that the common is pretty cool where he has the teddy bear. That's decent. But I feel like the chase version with the ball is going to be what people want, not only because it's a chase, but I feel like the bouncy ball, I believe, is even in the theme song, like the opening to the show. I believe that's the ball that's kind of bouncing around. It's almost like Pixar's bouncy ball, but it's kind of Nickelodeon's in a sense. So that's really cool. And then we have Susie, and this is awesome as well. It's great to see a brand new character for Rugrats. And this Susie looks amazing. She's holding like a narwhal plush, I would assume it is to be. I think it looks great. It's one of the best pops out of this wave, but maybe that's just because it's a brand new character. And then we have the new Angelica, and I like this one better than the old one for sure. It's very similar, but I do think it's cool because she has her arms crossed or she's looking a little bit more menacing. Obviously, she is kind of the bully of the group. And it's cool that they still added Exanthia, the doll. I think that that's great. It's cool to get kind of a little bit of a poppin' buddy with this, especially where when you think of Angelica, she definitely has to have Cynthia. So that's awesome that it's there. And I would actually be okay with if they made another wave of Rugrats pops and it was just a pop of Exanthia. I think or of Cynthia. I think that would be very awesome. But overall, this first wave is great. And then we go on to the exclusives with Phil and Lil. And yes, they are twins. And this is amazing. These look so cool. And I'm really glad the way that they did this, where they kind of did this with the whole wave, where they're all holding something, which is great. And it just makes so much sense for Phil and Lil to be holding what looks to be a frog and then like a mud pie, which is so cool because they're always known to be fooling around with bugs and creatures like that. So this is really awesome. I will definitely be getting this whole wave and hopefully that Tommy chase as well. And hopefully not having to go to the secondary market. Maybe that'll be a pop I can find in stores. Then we have the driving exam Piccolo, and this is so cool. I love Piccolo pops. I kind of collect Piccolo as a character more out of the Dragon Ball Z sets than any other character, really. Him and Vegeta and Master Roshi. So it's cool to see a new Piccolo, and this one is awesome. This is from a filler episode of Dragon Ball Z, and I think it looks great. It's kind of the same thing with the Angelica, where she has the arms crossed, and so does Piccolo. So he does look a little bit menacing, kind of pissed off, and he definitely does get kind of scared and angry in this episode. And a lot of people consider this to be the best filler episode of Dragon Ball Z. So I would definitely see there being a lot of hype over this pop. And it's cool that it's an FYE exclusive, so it'll be decently accessible to us, considering Sunrise Records will probably end up getting this at some point. And I'll probably pick this up. The one only gripe I have with this is that the pose that I like so much actually makes this pop not as great as it could be. And I think if he would have been in like a scared pose, that would have been awesome. And then it would have kind of showed his shirt where he does have the words Post Boy, I think is what it says on the shirt. And with this pop, you can't see that. So that's just a little bit of detail that they could have added to this pop, but instead they gave him the crossed arms. But either way, this pop looks sick. And then we have the 2-pack for the white stripes. And this is really cool. I don't remember the significance of these attires either, but I do remember them wearing them. That's, I think, how I kind of think of Jack White is with that attire on. So this is awesome. I love the white stripes, and I will probably be getting this set of pops, though I've really been slowing down on the Pop Rocks recently.
Are you looking for great pop protectors? Then look no further than popbox.ca. They have a variety of 4-inch and 6-inch protectors in different quantities. Do you want to get 10 protectors, 20? You can get even up to 250 pop protectors over on popbox.ca. And also use our promo code of Funko Popcast for 10% off of your entire purchase of pop protectors. The code is going on until supplies last. So go get your pop protector needs now over on popbox.ca using our code of Funko Popcast to get 10% off.
And let me tell you guys, we're not just screwing around here. These are some great pop protectors. We own a multitude of these protectors. They are some of the best I've seen. Stop buying from EB Games. I'm not boycotting EB Games by any means, but their pop protectors are not as good. So again, use code of Funko Popcast for 10% off.
All right, so now we're going to move on to the next section of Funko Pops, which range from March 11th to yesterday as we were recording this, which was March 15th. So kicking off, we have ourselves a new set of pops for the HBO Max series Peacemaker, which we got ourselves pops of Eagly, Peacemaker with Eagly, Judo Master, Peacemaker in Tidy Whities, Vigilante, and then an Amazon exclusive Flocked Eagly, which these are expected to release as early as July of 2022. On the same day, Funko had announced a brand new set of pops for Marvel, and it's a Pop Deluxe set. And we got ourselves, I think it's called the Hall of Armor, I believe it is, which is of Iron Man, which we have Iron Man 4 and Iron Man Model 1, which all of these will be previews exclusives as they get announced and released. And these are expected to release as early as May of 2022. On that same day, Funko had announced a Funko Shop drop of Rapunzel with gold dress as a part of the Disney Ultimate Princess set, and this should still be available on the Funko Shop. And last but not least, for that day of March 11th, the Seattle Mariners had announced their own exclusive pop of Dan Wilson, which this pop will actually be given out to the first 20,000 fans who are in attendance at their September 10th game. And then on Monday, March 14th, Funko had announced the first of 5 pops involved in a new series called the Red Saber series involved for Star Wars, which kicks off with Emperor Palpatine, or as it's stated here, Darth Sidious, which this pop will glow in the dark and will be exclusive to GameStop. And this is expected to release as early as June of 2022. On that same day, Entertainment Earth had announced their own exclusive pop of a Captain America with prototype shield from Captain America, the First Avenger, in which this is also expected to release as early as June of 2022. And last but not least, for this set of pops for this week, we have ourselves, as a part of the Beyond Amazing set, a pop of Spider-Man 2211, which will be an Amazon exclusive. So kicking off with the Peacemaker pops, which this was not surprising because I feel like there were going to be Peacemaker pops on the way because of the popularity of the show, but I didn't expect them to be announced so soon with the recent announcement of the WonderCon exclusive. But this set is pretty sweet, and after looking at this set of Funko Pops, it makes me want to see the show even more. I already plan on going to see the show, but I don't exactly know when, but I think it will be soon because of how cool these Funko Pops are. I'm going to talk about these pops one by one, starting off with Eagly, which really intrigues me because it's clearly a bald eagle and he's holding an American flag. And I wonder, does this eagle talk, or does he kind of do like an eagle sound, but then Peacemaker would understand what Eagly is saying? Then we got ourselves a Peacemaker pop holding Eagly, which I think would be a cool little 2-for-1 pop and buddy right there. Judo Master looks pretty decent. And then we got ourselves the Peacemaker with the Tidy Whities, which is pretty funny because he actually appeared in his Tidy Whities as terms to the Suicide Squad, I'm pretty sure. So it's cool to kind of see that this funny scene is kind of brought back for the Peacemaker series. And then Vigilante, I know of this character because when the WonderCon exclusive Peacemaker pop was announced, a lot of people were really hyped for a potential Vigilante pop, and the overall detail is pretty cool. And then you got the Amazon exclusive Flocked Eagly, which I feel if you're going to get one pop of Eagly, this has got to be the one. Why not have a flocked bald eagle? Then we got ourselves the new Pop Deluxe set of Iron Man, or I don't know if it's just Iron Man. It looks like it because both of these attires are of Iron Man. So maybe this entire set, where it looks like it's going to be set up the same way as that Stranger Things set, is going to be all about Iron Man and all going to be previews exclusive. So I think you'll be able to get this at your local comic book shop, or essentially I know GameStop likes to hold previews exclusive. So if you go to GameStop, you'll probably be able to get them there also. So this is pretty decent. I like the overall designs of these, and I'm kind of curious to know what the next two are, whether they are really old attires of Iron Man, like it looks like for these pops, or they are more current Iron Man outfits, but just slightly different poses. I'm a little intrigued, but I don't think I'm interested enough, though, to want to get really any of these, to be honest. But it's a cool concept, though, for any Marvel collector out there. Then we got ourselves the Rapunzel with gold dress, the next I guess, gold dress variant of the Disney Ultimate Princess set that has been announced. And I don't know what to say that is essentially been the same thing that I've said for the other like 5 pops there are already. The original Disney Ultimate Princess pops are much better because you have these cool bases that go along with it. It's more of a pop deluxe, but you're being charged for a regular $14.99 Canadian, $12.99 or $11.99 US price. But this is just, okay, cool, you got a pin and then you have the book that goes along with it. But like, it's just not as good as those other ones to me. Then we have the pop of Dan Wilson for the Seattle Mariners. And this is okay. And I say this is okay because I don't think it's entirely bad because it's something very different from what we normally see for the MLB lineup, but I don't think it's entirely good either. I mean, we don't have a lot of back catcher pops, so it's cool that we have a pop of essentially, I think it's a player that we haven't gotten in pop form before. I could be totally wrong because I don't really catch up with the MLB lineup or even really any of the sports lineups besides essentially WWE, if you want to consider it a sport or not. But this is pretty decent, and I'm sure that this obviously will probably be a decent amount of money in the secondary market because only a select amount of people, even though 20,000 is a pretty big number, you can only obtain this when you go to the game. It's not going to be going into, let's say, your local Hot Topic or your Box Lunch or GameStop, whatever local retailer you go to buy pops. And then we have this Pop Deluxe set for Star Wars. Even though we already have a few Pop Deluxe sets for Star Wars already, we have the Bounty Hunter set that came out last year. And then you have the Duel of Fates that's coming out. And that's like, okay, that's pretty cool. And then the other one was pretty decent. But I think that this set coming out, in my opinion at least, is fucking fire. And it's not because the platform is fire. It's literally fire because for those that know me, when it comes to Star Wars, I have been wanting to get one of every Sith Lord from the Star Wars series, whether it's from the movies or the TV series like Rebels and Clone Wars. But now they're actually doing a Pop Deluxe set where it's kind of commemorating a lot of the Sith Lords. And now I feel, especially if you look at the different silhouettes for the other 4, that I can just buy these Pop Deluxe sets and not have to worry about paying a decent amount of money on the secondary market in order to get some of those higher priced Sith Lord pops, which I will get into. Obviously, we have Emperor Palpatine, or in this case, which I do like the decision making that they are calling it Darth Sidious. I actually don't have a Palpatine pop. I wanted to get the one they made for that small Return of the Jedi set a few years ago, but now I don't need to because I feel that this is better. And he's holding a red lightsaber, which is awesome. And I like how this is glow in the dark, especially for, I believe it's not only the fire base, but it's also the red lightsaber. So I think that is absolutely awesome. I can't wait to get this, and I can't wait to get all 5 of these pops that are involved, which I believe, if I'm not mistaken, if I were to quickly predict what the other 4 pops are, right at the bottom, starting at the left, it's clearly Darth Maul, which I'm not surprised because Darth Maul is a pretty popular character in the Star Wars series. So might as well acknowledge him once more as a pop for a Sith Lord series. And I think the one beside him is actually going to be, I think his name is Savage. That was from the Clone Wars or his Rebels, one of the two. So I think it's really cool that we get a pop of him because I actually don't think we've gotten a pop of him. We gotten a character similar to Savage in pop form with that like Star Wars game series lineup of pops, but it wasn't Savage himself. So it's really cool that they're actually going to acknowledge him, no pun intended, to Roman Reigns in WWE into Funko Pop form. And it'd be really cool to have him. The third pop, Count Dooku, which is already a very expensive pop with that Smuggler's Bounty exclusive sticker. So that's also a reason to get this set, is because anyone who missed out on that original Count Dooku pop can now get it in this set. And then obviously we can obviously tell who the last pop is in that set. And that is, of course, Darth Vader, my favorite character in the Star Wars series. And I can't wait to have these pops all together. And clearly it's looking like the whole base platform is going to be like based on Mustafar, which is awesome because I love Mustafar in Revenge of the Sith. And the thing that's also great about this is that this isn't the end of the set, because if you look on the Funko app and you look at the box, or you look on GameStop's website and you go to pre-order this, the box actually says Red Saber Series Volume 1. which means that Funko most likely will make more than one set of the Red Saber series. This is the first Pop Deluxe set out of the ones they've made so far, whether it's Star Wars, Stranger Things, Marvel, that I know I am 100% getting. And this is great. I love this. Great job, Funko. You're taking my money for this. Then we got the Captain America with the prototype shield. And I think this is pretty decent. It's a little bit obviously simplistic because you can't really do much with Steve Rogers at this point of the movie. But I think what really makes up for it is that detail they added on the shield, where it's kind of the spark effects of when someone is shooting some sort of metal where the bullets are bouncing off of it and it's making that spark like you obviously see in different movie scenes. This is a very refreshing Captain America pop per se, because we don't get a lot of Steve Rogers per se, rather than Captain America in his regular suit. So I really like this pop. And then we got ourselves the Spider-Man 2211 pop, which I know a lot of people knew about this already because certain retailers already got this pop with a special edition, but it was officially confirmed by Funko now as an Amazon exclusive. So now we're able to talk about it. I really like this. It's very refreshing to see, once again, something new for a certain character, like example here, Spider-Man, with a completely different outfit, and especially people like even myself that don't really know about this version. It really piques my interest to maybe even look more into this version and see the backstory of this. And it's really cool. You got, obviously his regular arms, but he's got extra arms.
So finally, after WonderCon and seeing that Peacemaker pop, we have a Peacemaker wave of pops. It's pretty good, actually. I really enjoy some of the pops in here. So we have Eagly. I guess I'll talk about Eagly and the flocked one. This is really cool. And just like DK said, it definitely sparks my interest to watch the show finally and find out about Eagly. And yeah, does he talk or is he kind of just an eagle? And yeah, that flocked one is awesome. Even if you don't care about Peacemaker, the series, or like DC in general, I think this is just a really cool looking pop. And obviously, it being flocked is awesome. And then we have Peacemaker with Eagly, which is pretty cool as well. It's cool to get the pop and buddy. And it's interesting how Eagly is kind of hugging onto Peacemaker. So I'm assuming that they are probably pretty good pals in the show, which is decent. And then the rest of the pops are all right. The Peacemaker in the whitey tighties or tighty whiteys is actually pretty funny. And he's obviously ripped because it is John Cena. So that's cool. And then we have the Hall of Armor for the previous exclusive pops. And this is a decent set. And I think that DK summed it up pretty well by saying that it's a really good concept, but not something I'd be interested in buying just because I don't really collect Iron Man pops for one. I really just collect Wolverine and Spider-Man when it comes down to Marvel. But I really do like the concept of this, obviously having all the different suits. And 4 doesn't seem like enough to me. I think it would be cool to have this as like at least a 6 suit set. It will just be the same poses, obviously, because Iron Man is not actually inside of those, or Tony Stark, I should say. So it'll be kind of basic poses, but I do think that the concept's really cool. And once they're all together in person, I think it'll look pretty wicked. Then we have the Rapunzel, and this is cool. This is a decent one. I don't mind this one. The set is kind of seeming like it's dragging on a little bit because we get one after another. I think it's one a month, I believe, maybe 2 a month we're getting at this point. I like the concept of this, and obviously they're kind of all the same, but DK did sum it up well, where you have those other Disney Princess pops where they have really awesome bases, and I think that's kind of the set to collect over this one, though the idea of having the pin with the book is also pretty cool. Then we have the Dan Wilson pop, and yeah, it's cool to see another back catcher pop. We don't get enough of those, and they kind of have more detail than your regular MLB pop. So this is cool, and obviously if you go to the game, you can obtain this, and only 20,000 pieces. That is a decent number, but at the same time, it is a limited pop. So if you are a fan of this team or MLB pops in general, this might be one you want to pick up. And it just really makes me hope that one day that Funko does a partnership with the Washington Capitals where you get to go to the game and get perhaps an Ovechkin pop that we've never seen before. And that would probably make me finally make the decision to take a trip to Washington and go see my first ever Capitals game in the Capital One Arena, which would be so awesome, and get a new Ovechkin pop, which obviously I have all of the Ovechkin pops. So I'd like to see more. And also congratulate him on now being third of all time for scoring, which happened last night, which is so cool. Now he's only got Gordie Howe and Gretzky to go, but I'm getting off topic. Overall, this pop is pretty decent, but it's not my cup of tea because, like I said, I'm more interested in hockey. And then we have the new Emperor Palpatine pop or Darth Sidious for the Red Saber set. And this is really cool. I really like the base and it glows in the dark, which is awesome. I'm assuming that probably the eyes, the saber, and the lava on the base is going to glow in the dark. And I'm really interested in seeing the other pops for this set. I think it's going to be awesome. I'm not surprised that DK is going to be buying the set. I know he is a huge fan of Sith Lords. And I definitely might consider it as well because so far this set is looking pretty fire, like DK said. And then we have the new Captain America pop, the Entertainment Earth exclusive. And yeah, this one is cool. DK summed it up pretty well that we haven't really gotten a lot of Steve Rogers pops recently. So this is a pretty cool one. It's nice and refreshing because it's not just a new mold of him doing something else with his shield, where I mean, I guess it kind of is, but he's in a new or a different outfit and obviously doesn't have his helmet / mask on. So this is really cool. And I do like the idea of having the like bullets piercing the shield. I think that looks really awesome. I really want to see what it looks like in person because obviously this being a glam shot, it will look a little bit different. Will it look better? Will it look worse? I guess we'll have to find out and see. And then lastly, we have the Amazon exclusive Spider-Man 2211. And this is awesome. I actually seen this pop recently. I forget where I was, but I did see it and I was like, oh, that's really cool. Maybe it was at the flea market when I was just there recently. Maybe that's where I saw it. But this pop is awesome. And I will probably be buying this considering I am trying to collect a majority of the Spider-Man pops. But yeah, the overall design of this pop is really cool. I like his like kneeling stance. And then obviously, like DK said, he has his regular arms, plus the kind of mechanical Doc Ock like arms behind him, which is really awesome. This pop is sweet. I wouldn't be surprised if we see like a metallic version of this pop down the road.
Anyways, guys, that's going to be the end of this week's podcast. If you enjoyed this week's edition of a Funko Podcast, make sure you smash that like button. Comment in the comment section below on your thoughts on this week's pops, and also join the discussion from earlier. Do you think there are more doors or wheels in the world? Press the subscribe button for more content like this podcast and any other videos we do on this channel in the future, and press the little bell beside it to be notified of when that future content gets released. But anyways, guys, thank you for listening to today's podcast, and we hope you guys tune in for next week on a Funko Podcast. 1, 2, 3, I'm out of here.
I'm going to Wichita, far from this opera of forevermore. Peace in, peace out.